What up, Pittsburgh Steelers fans? Matty here with another episode of Steelers Touching Under. As you can tell, my voice is a little bit affected. Woke up with having a fever all night, so going to be trying as sprightly and lively as possible for you guys. But the Steelers have released their 53-man roster, their initial 53-man roster. We should say that because ultimately the Steelers are going to make a number of moves, as we will see over the course of the next few days into the next few weeks, with depending on who's cut from other teams, depending on who becomes available. There's also the injury side of things as well. So from my perspective, we really need to think about the 53-man roster as a moving beast. It is definitely a something that we see throughout the season. There's different changes that are made through injuries and whatnot. So then all those things of that nature, to quote Mike Tomlin. But with that, let's react to the 53-man roster. There were some surprises here from my side of things. So what surprised me? Let's go through the offense first. Nothing about the quarterback surprised me. Pardon me. Running backs, I thought they would try and keep 4 on the roster, but they clearly wanted to keep an extra lineman. So they had to find that sort of that cut somewhere. I think also because they've got 9 linemen, but effectively 3 tackles in Broderick Jones, Danwell Jr., and Fatanu. When you look at the guard side of things, you've got James Daniels, obviously Mason McCormick, Isaac Siamalu, of course, and then Ryan McCollum, Spencer Anderson are kind of in there as these like potential center backups. Spencer Anderson can play anywhere on the line, so that's where he's beneficial. Mike Tomlin's talked about him in press conferences. He's a guy that you kind of want to expect was going to be playing this season and being on the 53-man roster, not starting, but being a really important backup. Then when I look at things and I look at the tight end group, fullback group, that's Connor Haywood. That's no surprise. I was kind of hopeful of Jack Coletto making the squad, but he didn't. And that pretty much you can tie down to being the fact that Emiko Pruitt made the squad at tight end there alongside Pat Freeman and Darnell. I'm not surprised to see this. He's had a really important role in the Arthur Smith offense, both at the Tennessee Titans and at the Atlanta Falcons. So this makes a lot of sense. And I think really in many ways, despite me wanting to see a gritty guy like Coletto make the squad, Pruitt offers a lot more for them in different phases of the ball, and he's someone that knows that Arthur Smith offense. It also means that Darnell, he can focus on being a bit more of a receiver than just a blocker. So I kind of like this move, particularly also with the run-heavy Arthur Smith offense. You've effectively got 2 H-backs of varying sizes now in Connor Haywood and Pruitt. So that's kind of a cool thing. But lucky for Connor Haywood, he's a special teams ace and he can move around in the running backs. That's also probably why they only kept 3 running backs. Wide receivers, Calvin Austin, Van Jefferson, George Pickens, Roman Wilson, Scotty Miller. This is what I predicted. I didn't think that Quez Watkins would make the team. I've been pretty vocal about that across all the different shows on this channel. And, that's really what we kind of saw. So, again, not really, there's no surprises there. They haven't listed these guys out. Even if they did, the Steelers have said before, particularly Mike Tomlin, don't always go off the depth chart off the website. So that's the offensive side. On the defense, there are a lot more actual surprises here for me. The real only surprise is about the fullback potentially and Pruitt staying on the roster and not having 4 running backs. And that's, as I said, because they wanted to carry 9 linemen, which makes sense given the different injuries that have happened over the years and the niggles that have happened already through the off-season sort of schedule from OTAs and entering minicamp and rookie minicamp and then obviously now training camp. Looking at the defensive line, Adams, Benton, Haywood, Logan Lee, Isaiah Loudermilk, Dean Lowry, Larry Ogunjobi, and DeMarvin Leal. No real surprises here. Fehoko having his injury changes things as well. I thought he might have made it. Loudermilk and Leal both keep their jobs. Leal is someone that I think has really improved through this training program. They were never going to not probably keep Logan Lee as long as he performed as a draft pick. No surprises there. Do I think that there's room to trim a little bit more there? I do. But DeMarvin Leal carrying him makes a lot of sense when you look at the linebackers. So with the linebackers, they've only carried across 3 outside guys technically in Herbig, Watt, and of course, Alex Highsmith. But Peyton Wilson, Tyler Matakevich, Patrick Queen, Atlanta Roberts, and Mark Robinson are in there as well. Now, given the Holcomb situation, you kind of had to pick up Roberts. I'm surprised they've put in Matakevich. I will be straight with that. I thought he would take a veteran spot on the practice squad. Maybe they felt they were going to lose him to someone else, so they didn't at this stage. So this could be just tactical roster building at this point. But you could see, I've seen Peyton Wilson a few sets throughout the preseason where he seems to be lining up outside. Atlanta Roberts could probably do that in a pinch if you wanted him to. I'm not deeply worried there with Herbig, and they can also make moves. And when we go to the guys on different injury lists, this also makes a bit more sense. So I'm not deeply worried about that situation. If we look at defensive backs, I might make the screen a little bit bigger for everyone. Defensive backs is an interesting one, I think, because Beanie Bishop obviously makes it, which is great. Deshaun Elliott, Minka Fitzpatrick, Dante Jackson, Killebrew, Porter Jr., Corey Trice. They all made sense. I was kind of surprised to see Darius Rush make it. Shannon will be thrilled. It's not that I think he's bad. I wonder if he really sticks on this squad. I still kind of feel like he could end up early on the season on the practice squad, and they sign someone more experienced. Obviously, the Sutton's situation as well means that like that comes into play. But the other bloke that I think is very, very lucky to be on the squad, just to be honest, because I thought he played terrible in a couple of preseason games, is actually Jalen Elliott. And that's what's interesting about this group, because this group is actually quite safety heavy when you look at it. Deshaun Elliott, Demonte Casey, Minka, Jalen Elliott, Miles Killebrew. You've got like a good 6-7 guys in there, or 6 guys, I should say. And that's kind of interesting. We know obviously Killebrew is more of the special teams guy, doesn't really play the safety side. That's why they might have liked Jalen Elliott. But I still think Jalen Elliott's a little bit lucky to be in there. And I think he's going to have to do some ramping. Hopefully he can do that. But we've got to be confident. We've got to support these men in the black and gold. But that is definitely something to watch throughout the early parts of the season. But hopefully he's not playing a lot of snaps, because hopefully the starters and the guys like Minka and Deshaun Elliott are playing well. Obviously, specialist, this is probably no surprise to anyone. Boswell, Cameron Johnson, Christian Kuntz, and the specialists have all had good preseasons. So keen to see them do their thing. Hopefully they were scoring touchdowns, and it's only their thing from kickoffs and converted attempts after a touchdown. Okay, moving along to the injury side. So Graylin Arnold, Brendan Foco, Nate Herbig, the guard, Nick Herbig's brother, Ryan Watts, Julian Welshoff are all on the reserve injured list. So they're going to all be in varying states in terms of when they can come back, when they can't. Different rules apply depending on what actually occurs with them. So I'm not going to delve into that on this reactionary podcast. Designated for return injury reserve is Dylan Cook and Jeremiah Moon. This may be part of it, why they've only got 3 outside linebackers right now, because they expect Moon to be there and to come back as the 4th guy. JJ answering that question for you. But yeah, so that'll be kind of interesting to see. Dylan Cook, I was also surprised initially when I looked at the list. I'm like, oh, Dylan Cook missed out. But then it kind of made sense, because obviously he's on the reserve injured list designated for return. And then obviously on the pup list is Cole Holcomb. And then obviously we know Golden retired. So I think this is all pretty straightforward. And then obviously we know Cameron Sutton's been suspended. So as I said, that's the 53 for you. And quite honestly, I do think that when it comes to the Steelers this year and it comes to this roster, I do think they're going to have more changes. But 24 on offense, 26 on defense kind of makes sense. They're keeping it tight at this point. Lots of room for movement heading into the season. Still, there's a whole nother week. Who knows who's going to get cut, traded, or what have you in the next few hours. Not that I think Brandon Ayuk's coming or anything like it, but just want to give you that reactionary piece. Sorry, I'm a little bit off energy today. Said battling a fever at the moment, but did want to get this to you guys. And yeah, let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Who were you surprised at? Who were you not surprised at? Who should be there? Who shouldn't? Keen for all of it. Do you have differing opinions to mine? I'm actually loving the difference of opinions that I'm getting. It keeps us all thinking about all different perspectives. So really like it. But as always, go Steelers.